Did you know that Londoners have more than one accent? There's a common misconception that all Londoners sound the same. And if you think that, then you're probably not from round here still. To illustrate my point further, here are 3 clips of people from London speaking.
Not gonna lie, see you, I'm on to you, you know. If somebody says that to you in London, you may as well just make your will. Oh yeah, can I have your PS5? Wait, what? Now, but real shit though, don't let that go over your head. Like, somebody says they're on to you, don't think it's some good shit like, oh yeah, they're on to me. No,
but we had a bit of a bond up on the job because it was a strange place to film.
Yeah.
And there was some issues around it, but Bulgaria. Bulgaria was a nutty gaff.
How long were you out there?
And I only came in for one ep. I played a gladiator.
Yeah, obviously.
So I suppose it was about, and I went crackers out there, didn't I? Yeah, I did. We partied a lot, and then I off and they got on with the job. But I suppose my character in that as well was very masculine. I was a gladiator.
Yeah.
It was a really fleeting thing. But I remember we had a bond up, and I really liked mine. And so there's no talk of it then. But then my career went a bit up and I ended up in EastEnders.
It's Mercury retrograde at the moment. For anyone who doesn't know, it's when your energy is out of sync and things like that. And so, do we feel a little bit out of sync at the moment?
And actually, it's specifically was for Libras, which is what I am, because it's
really bad for Libras at the moment.
So for me, I think I'm meant to have try and build old relationships up.
Okay.
Someone told me.
You've been talking about your ex a lot. That's one of your exes.
Now you tell me whether you think they sound the same. Also, which was the most difficult for you to understand? Please let me know down in the comments below. So let's start by discussing the first London accent on the list, Multicultural London English, or MLE. It's an accent which emerged in the early 1980s in parts of London where there were relatively high levels of immigration, mainly from West Africa and the Caribbean. MLE is based on the traditional East End Cockney dialect, which we'll discuss later, and predominantly Afro-Caribbean influences. You can still hear the heavy Jamaican influence on MLE with words and phrases like wagwan and ting commonly used by people who have this accent. You can also be sure to hear the MLE accent in shows like Top Boy and on celebrities like Stormzy and Raheem Sterling. Now, here are 4 key elements of this accent. The letter T, when in the middle of a word, is often skipped. So for example, pass me a bottle of water. Oi, that doesn't even matter, bruv. It's not that deep. Or something like, oi, bruv, you got a lighter? Secondly, the I in the middle of a word or the Y at the end of a word is usually pronounced with a twang. So for example, guy, fly, like, why. Let me give you a sentence. I kinda like that thing still. Now moving on to the third element of this accent, the TH can oftentimes become a D. So for example, that, this, or there. That's that, this, or there. So the last element of this accent that I'm going to mention in this video is that the TH can also become F. So the number 3 will become the number 3, or the word thought will become thought, like I thought I told you that already. You get me, blood? Now, of course, there are more nuances with this accent, which I'll cover in another video, but that's a good starting point for you novices out there. Now, moving on to the Cockney accent, which is historically known for its East London working class roots. This accent can be heard on shows like EastEnders and The Only Way is Essex. It can also be heard on hundreds of training grounds up and down the UK. I don't know, but for some reason, it's the stock accent for your tough guy character in any British film. And also your stock centre half who could slide tackle and header from the mid-2000s. This accent of course has gradients depending on where you listen to it. What you hear in the media tends to be a watered down version, but if you listen to a proper Cockney from the 80s in a pub, you'll struggle to understand if your ear isn't trained. Now, if you like to train your ear, subscribe to the channel for more language learning tips and tricks. Also, if you're enjoying this video, smash the like button. So what are some key characteristics of this accent? The H at the beginning of words gets dropped, so house becomes ass. Also, you don't really hear the T at the end of a word. So for example, do you get it? Do you get what I'm saying? Like MLE, TH oftentimes becomes an F or a V. So again, the word thought will become for, I thought. I think I'll let Gemma Collins illustrate my point further.
It's all a bit of a get up, really. I thought there is no way these people go through this kind of stuff. When I'd got in there, I realised that actually this is serious stuff.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the right headspace. And when I got there, I just felt, nah, this is not for me.
No.
Now finally, let's discuss the third most popular accent Londoners have, received pronunciation or RP. This is the accent that you're most likely going to hear when you translate a word on Google Translate. It's to say, this is what's perceived as proper English. Now, if you frequent London, you'd know that this accent is not limited to any one area. But having said that, you can be sure to hear it in areas like Chelsea, Dulwich, Greenwich, Hampstead Heath, St John's Wood, Wimbledon, Richmond and Clapham. Speaking of Clapham, if you spend 10 minutes on Clapham High Street at about midnight on a Saturday night, you'll hear many a folk with this accent, sometimes even referring to mummy and daddy as if their acquaintances share the same parents. Oh yeah, I won't be able to make it this weekend because I'm going to mummies in the country. If you watch a few minutes of Made in Chelsea, you'll get exactly what I mean. By the way, if I didn't mention an area previously, don't come for me. I'm being overly simplistic and generic for the sake of this video. Now, for most people, in particular foreigners, the RP accent is the easiest one to understand, and that's because you hear it absolutely everywhere. On the news, in movies, and in adverts. That's starting to change, and more of a light is being shed on the other two accents previously mentioned, but it remains that the RP accent is the predominant accent that we hear in the media. Also, when I speak to my friends from Latin America and or the US, when they think of a London accent, that's the one they're referring to. Now, my accent I would say is a hybrid of all three, and I lean into one more than the other depending on the context. That isn't something that I can particularly control, by the way. It kind of just happens. Let me know down in the comments if this also happens to you. Also, while there, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more language learning tips and tricks. If you enjoyed this video, then go check out my other video where I spent 24 hours in London without speaking a word of English up here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.